Hey guys, welcome to Asking Ashley, and this is episode 13 of Asking Ashley. Alright, without further ado, let's get into this week's submissions. Okay, so this one is titled Possible Story Time. Hi Asking Ashley, I hope you're doing well during these trying times. Could you tell us about an event in your life that really impacted you? How did you cope with it, and what advice could you give to someone who's going through the same thing? Okay, so when I first moved out by myself and I had my own place to myself, I was doing really well. I got a job. I was super fortunate to be able to land a job right outside of college, and it was in a field that I really like and that I enjoyed. But at the same time, a couple months in, I started to develop some health issues. I won't go into detail about the health issues that I have, but I really struggled, especially because it wasn't something that you could see was wrong with me necessarily. It was more something that impacted my day-to-day and gave me anxiety about just getting up in the morning and going and doing what I have to do and having to deal with it and appearing fine, but also not feeling good and not feeling all right. And this is my first time living on my own, my first job. I don't want to make a bad impression, and it really affected me. And as my health started to decline, I also kind of tumbled into a little bit of depression where I just didn't feel like anything that I was doing was satisfactory, no matter how good I was performing. And I really struggled. Those were some really bad days. When you tell people about your symptoms, including multiple doctors over and over again, they make you feel kind of crazy. And I'm not gonna lie, I really did struggle with that. And of course, there's a bunch of articles and statistics about Black women in the health field and how they're no longer, or they don't get the same service as other people have the pleasure of experiencing when they go to the doctor. There's always trouble about being believed, whether or not they're in pain, whether or not they're suffering through something, or whether or not their illness is legitimate. I was on my own a lot. I could call my family, but they couldn't experience it with me. I could only, cry into the phone sometimes on the really bad days. So not only was I dealing with emotional pain and physical pain and lots of doctor's visits and not being believed that something was wrong with me. Luckily today I'm diagnosed and I'm doing much better, but that was something that really impacted me. So your second question is how did I cope with it? And the answer is terribly. I did absolutely everything that you're not supposed to do. I isolated myself. I didn't tell people in my life what was wrong with me. I pretended like nothing was wrong, even though visually people could see me crying all the time and not doing very well. And then finally you asked me, what advice would you give to someone who's going through the same thing? The advice I would give myself is exactly what I was doing at that time. Keep getting up every day and wishing and knowing that it's gonna get better one day. Even if right now really sucks and things are a bit unfair and people aren't treating you very well. Keep going, keep waking up every day and doing what you're supposed to do, and things will change. That's one of the best things about life. Everything changes. If things are good, it's gonna change. If things are bad, it's gonna change. So just wait a little longer and your situation will be different. Not without action from you, of course. And I listened to a lot of sermons, Elevation Church, that got me through some hard times. I read some different scriptures from different religions because I think that everyone has something good to say. And I spent good time by myself, not bad time by myself. And I differentiate that by saying good time by yourself is when you are working out, you're meditating, you're being productive, you're making lists of things you need to get done, and you are doing things that are conducive to improving your lifestyle and your life itself. That time by yourself was me watching TV, curled up on the ball on the couch, crying to myself and feeling sorry for myself. And there's a time for that. But falling into a routine where I was merely existing and not living. What I went through was depression due to bad health and a cycle that fed into my bad health, into my depression into my bad health, into a vicious cycle until I was able to get out of it through lots of work from myself. How did I cope with it? Terribly. I did everything you weren't supposed to do. I isolated myself. Yeah, it made me a lot stronger, but the hard way, very, very much so the hard way. I could have coped with that a lot better. But sometimes the hard way is the way we take in life. And what advice would I give someone who's going through the same thing? Keep getting up every day, no matter how much it sucks. No matter how terrible it is. I know everyone says this, but keep getting up, keep trying. Don't give up on your health. Don't give up on your mental health. Don't give up on yourself. Just keep trying until you find a solution.
And for God's sakes, ask somebody for some help.
And that solution may not necessarily be a cure for what's wrong with you. That solution could be yoga, meditation, remedies that make you feel better. No one is going to be your advocate better than you are. No, even in your worst situations, it's up to you to save you. This life is your making. Kind of corny, but seriously, don't give up. Keep trying until you get what you need. Okay, the next submission is called Reaching Your Goals. Hi Ashley, I wanted to know if you had any tips or tricks on reaching your goals in life. Can you share with us what you're striving for in life right now? You guys are asking me some deep questions today. Start with what your goal is.
Duh, Ashley, they know that.
So a lot of times when we have a dream or we know we're not in the right place where we want to be in life, we are kind of vague and abstract with what we want. And people ask us, so what do you want to do? You're like,
I want to get somewhere like this and do something kind of like this. But I don't know how to get there.
Even saying doing something kind of like this is at least you're leaning in a direction. Figure out what you want. Okay, so for this illustration, we can say I want to be a baker and I have my own bakery. So after you find your goal, the second I would say is work backwards from that goal. Okay, I want to have a bakery. Do I know how to bake? Culinary school. Can I afford that? No. Okay. I guess I'll have to experiment in the kitchen every week. How about I work in a restaurant? Work my way from dishes to prep, up into serving, up into maybe the kitchen. Work with the manager, understand how they put in orders and things like that. Okay, I've been working in this restaurant for 5 or 10 years. I've got a little cash now. Maybe I could take a few classes if I can't afford the entire degree. Okay, from there, I have to purchase a spot. It's gonna be small, maybe a little dank, but it's somewhere where I can afford to start to launch my career. And then, by then you're already a baker, but are you where you wanna be? So it's constantly assessing and working backwards from where you wanna be. And I think I go through this a lot in my videos about the art of working backwards from what your goals are. This is the most important part, not just the planning, not just the realization, but the sacrifice. Whatever you want in this life, it's gonna require something of you. It's not gonna fall from the sky. It's not going to present itself to you on bended knee. You're gonna have to grind for it and you're gonna have to work for it. And there are gonna be many, many, many days where you are regretting even trying to develop this skill, enter this market, follow this career path, where you may not feel your best self. But those are the days where you see what you're made of. When you're grinding, when you're trying, when you're spending long nights, when you're working overtime. That's you building a foundation and building your life. Even if by some miracle you're catapulted into your goal and you're able to make it on a faster track than most people, you might be lacking in foundational skills and education that will make you struggle more than you would have had you gone through the proper steps in the proper order and built that tough skin and built that resilience and built that fundamental knowledge. So what do I want to do? How do I work backwards to get there? Start grinding, rinse, repeat. And finally, can you share with us what you're striving for right now? Honey, you're watching it. I've always wanted to have an advice-giving platform, and I have been inspired by so many people who have done this. Just experiencing people's stories and wanting the best for them and providing them with the best solution that you know how is something that I've always wanted to do, but I've only recently indulged in that desire. And this is something I'm striving for, is building this channel, building this community, giving the best advice I can, and if anything, providing some perspective to a total stranger, someone who's not in your circle, someone who doesn't really see the full picture of what you're going through or doesn't have much history on you, but can give you some advice just based on what you feel like telling me. So I hope that answers your submission. Thank you everyone for putting in your submissions this week. This was a really interesting week. Some deep questions, I like that. A vibe change is always good. If you would like me to respond to your story, head over to AskingAshley.com to put in your submission. And if you like the content that I'm putting out, like this video and subscribe to my channel. And also, if you don't like the responses that I give to our weekly submissions, or if you think you have a little better advice to give, comment down below and help our submissions out this week. Most importantly, thank you for watching, and take care of each other. Bye.